All right, let's get right into it. Almost everything we've ever been taught about wealth is, well, it's a straight line, right? You go to work, you get paid, you spend some, and you really hope, you save enough to just stop one day. But what if that whole way of thinking is fundamentally flawed? What if wealth isn't a finish line you cross, but a self-sustaining engine that you build? That right there is the big idea behind the Ouroboros guide. It's a completely new map for wealth that isn't a line at all. It's a loop.
And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the old path. It's linear and, man, is it draining. Your time, your labor is directly traded for money that just gets consumed. It's a system that always needs you to keep pedaling. But now look at the right. That's the Ouroboros loop. It's a closed system. It powers itself. Your capital buys an asset, the asset spits out a yield, and this is the magic part, that yield gets plowed right back in to grow the whole thing. It's not about saving up to quit, it's about building an engine that runs whether you show up or not.
So how do you actually build this thing, this engine? Well, you can't use the old blueprints, that's for sure. You need a new kind of architecture. And it's all built on 4 core philosophical pillars that are going to guide every single decision you make.
First up, we have symmetry. Think of this as the concrete foundation of your entire financial house. It's all about order, predictability, certainty. In the world of finance, that means hunting down assets that have contractual guarantees, things that are designed to preserve your capital above all else. This is your stable core. We're talking treasury bills, CDs, the stuff that provides a known return and shields the rest of your system from chaos.
Okay, next is balance. So if symmetry is the foundation, balance is the force that keeps the whole structure from toppling over in a strong wind. It's about stabilizing all the different parts so you're resilient. The key idea here is to get rid of any single point of failure. And how do you do that? Well, this is where something like a broad market ETF comes into play. Instead of making a risky bet on one single company, you're basically betting on the entire global economy. You wipe out the risk of one company failing while capturing the growth of, well, everything.
Our third pillar is unity, and this is where things start to get really cool. Unity is the force of cohesion. It's about taking totally different things, like land, labor, and capital, and binding them together into one productive, tangible thing. The absolute best example? Real estate. You know, a rental property isn't just an asset on a spreadsheet. It's a tiny little financial ecosystem all on its own. It's generating returns from rent, from appreciation, from tax benefits, and from the loan being paid down, all at the same time.
And finally, Pillar 4, paradox. If the other pillars are the engine, this is the turbocharger. Instead of running away from chaos and all that scary market volatility, the paradox pillar runs right towards it. It actually thrives on that tension to generate some incredible yields. It's about flipping the script and using strategies that literally turn market fear into cold, hard, predictable cash flow. This is where the system gets really powerful.
Okay, enough theory. That's the what. Now it's time for the how. We're going to take these 4 kind of abstract pillars and map them directly onto concrete, real-world asset classes, the kinds of things you can actually use to start building your own financial machine today for 2025 and beyond.
This slide right here, this is the blueprint. This is where it all clicks. Look, for symmetry, our foundation, the job is capital preservation. So we use things like treasury bill ETFs. They're super safe. For balance, the job is diversification. So we use global index funds to own a tiny piece of everything. For unity, we need tangible production, and that's exactly what real estate syndications do. And last, for paradox, the mission is to harvest volatility, and modern tools like covered call ETFs are designed to do just that. See, each pillar has a job, a tool, and a risk profile you just have to understand.
Let's just double-click on one of these for a second, because the unity pillar allows for something that, honestly, it sounds impossible. It's the concept of an infinite return. Now, this isn't some gimmick. It's a very real, sophisticated strategy that just perfectly shows how powerful this framework is when you apply it to real-world assets.
Okay, so here's how this crazy loop works in something like a real estate syndication. Step 1, a group of investors pools their money to buy a property. Step 2, the operator goes in and forces appreciation. They renovate, they improve things, and they jack up the property's value. Step 3, and this is the absolute key, they refinance the property based on its new, higher value. And that allows them to do Step 4, return all of the original investment capital right back to the investors. I mean, just think about that for a second. You get all your initial money back. Your risk is now zero, so you have $0 of your own money left in the deal, but you still own your share of the property and you keep collecting cash flow. Your return on investment is, quite literally, infinite.
Now, let's jump all the way to the other end of the risk spectrum, the paradox pillar. This is where we learn to actually make money from the one thing most investors are terrified of, chaos.
The whole idea here is that volatility isn't some threat to be avoided. It's a raw material. It's an energy source that you can forge into a high sustainable yield.
So what does this actually look like? Well, with covered call ETFs, you're basically selling off some of your potential big upside gains, and in exchange for that, you get paid a really high income stream. Right now, we're talking 8, 10, even 12%. In crypto, you have staking, which is kind of like putting your coins in a high-yield savings account for the blockchain. You help keep the network secure, and you earn rewards for it. And then you have the really cutting-edge stuff like DeFi, which is basically like hiring a little army of AI robots to constantly scan the digital world for the best yield opportunities and manage them for you 24/7.
Building the machine is step one, but to make it truly dominant, you have to supercharge it. And that means using technology and really smart tax strategy to make the whole system ruthlessly efficient, cutting out all the friction and maxing out the speed of your loop.
Just look at the difference here. Traditional portfolio management is slow. You rebalance, once a year? An annual tax review? But AI-powered management is like having a fleet of tiny robotic arms that are constantly optimizing everything. It can do stuff like 24/7 tax loss harvesting. That means the instant an investment dips, the AI can sell it to create a tax deduction for you, then immediately buy a super similar asset so you don't miss any of the upside. It's a proactive, intelligent system that's always working for you.
And this is all leading to this mind-blowing concept of agentic AI. We are moving beyond just using AI as a tool. We're talking about deploying autonomous software agents, bots, that go out and perform real economic tasks for you. Imagine an AI that runs an e-commerce store, or another one that constantly looks for arbitrage opportunities in the market, or one that just generates and sells content. This is a brand new type of passive income, one that's generated by a digital workforce that you own.
But listen, all this amazing income, whether it's from AI or real estate, is totally useless if you just let the government eat it all up. And that's why we have to talk about defense. There is a huge urgent deadline coming up, the 2025 tax cliff. The big tax cuts from 2017, they're scheduled to expire, which means for a lot of us, income tax rates are about to jump a lot. Taxes are the ultimate friction in your wealth machine, and that friction is about to get a whole lot worse.
So the time to start planning is yesterday. The time to act is now. You can use smart strategies like asset location, making sure your highest growth stuff is tucked away in tax-free accounts like a Roth. You can do Roth conversions now, choosing to pay the tax at today's lower rates so you can enjoy tax-free growth for the rest of your life. And there are even more advanced plays, like the short-term rental loophole, which can let you use paper losses from real estate to legally slash the tax bill from your main job. The point is, you have to be proactive.
And all of this, it brings us back to the big picture. Why are we even building this complex machine? The goal isn't just to see a big number in your bank account. The entire purpose of this system, the reason for all of this work, is to achieve one single thing: real autonomy.
So what does this actually look like all put together? Well, here's a model portfolio for 2025. You'll see the biggest piece of the pie, 45%, is in balance. That's our core engine, capturing long-term global growth. Then, a big 25% chunk is in Unity, real, tangible assets providing cash flow. We've got 15% in Symmetry as our stable foundation, our defense. That 12% in Paradox is our high-yield turbocharger. And finally, that little 3% is a hedge, basically an insurance policy against a massive market crash. It's a system that's designed to be resilient, productive, and high-yielding all at the same time. And to make it even more concrete, here are some actual tickers you can go and research. For Symmetry, an ETF like SGOV holds ultra-safe T-bills. For Balance, VT gives you the entire world stock market in one fund. For Unity, you could look into private real estate deals or a public company like O. JPI is a really popular one for that Paradox slice. And for that little bit of insurance, an ETF like Tail is designed to do well when everything else is falling apart. These are the real tools you can use to build a machine. But once that machine is up and running, once that passive income is flowing, a totally new challenge pops up. What do you actually do with all that freedom? The answer isn't to just retire and sit on a beach. For most people, that leads to a crisis of purpose. The real goal is to use that financial freedom to fund your intrinsic work, the stuff you would do for its own sake, the work you'd do for free, whether that's creating art, scientific research, building a community, or raising a family.
What the Ouroboros system really shows us is that wealth isn't a static pile of gold. It's a dynamic flow of energy that you can design, that you can control.
It's a machine that takes market chaos as its fuel and transforms it into the order of income and ultimately into freedom. Which leaves us all with the final and really the only question that matters. Once your loop is built and the machine is running, what is your freedom for?